Manikya, Matu, Matu, Manikya, Matu, Matu, Manikya. Thank you.
Very good. Hearts United, Spirit Soul. Thank you for your song, Ms. Sahitya. Now I request Ms. Kadi Srivastava of third year KLE to render the welcome address to this gathering.
It isn't enough to talk about peace. One must believe in it. And it isn't enough to believe in it. One must work on it. Eleanor Roosevelt. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and beloved participants, a very warm welcome to the KLE MUN. We are delighted to have each one of you here, bringing your unique perspectives and energy to this gathering. Today marks the beginning of this modern United Nation, a momentous occasion that promises shared experiences, collaboration, and meaningful connections, highlighting our theme, de novo perspective, de novo history. I would like to invite Dr. Madhusudan, Associate Professor, KLE Law College, Bengaluru, to welcome our esteemed Chief Guest, Mr. K. Amaranarayana, retired IAS Officer with the sapling. Thank you, sir. I invite Ms. Soumya N., Assistant Professor of Law, KLE Law College, Bengaluru, to welcome Professor Dr. Saira, our esteemed guest of honor with the sapling. Thank you, ma'am. I would now like to invite Mr. Aditya Kamal, a member of the Secretariat, to welcome the beacon of our strength, Professor Dr. J. Mallikarjunaya, Dean, Faculty of Law and Principal, KLE Law College, with the sapling. Thank you, Aditya. Lastly, it gives me great pleasure to call upon Ms. Sweekriti S. Medley to welcome the zealous Secretary General of the KLE MUN 2023, Mr. Aditya Prakash Nair. Thank you so much for your presence. We stand here today with a total of 9 committees with some of the most enthralling agendas, the most refined executive board, and as the room is witness, the most diverse and talented individuals from across the country. We sincerely hope that the next 3 days give each of you an opportunity to exchange ideas, engage in fruitful debate, and to emerge as the leaders of the world, which the world not only needs, but deserves. Thank you so much. Have an amazing session of discussion and deliberation. Once again, welcome to the Modern United Nations.
Thank you, Gary. They are unseen hands, the silent guardians and architects of progress. From ensuring public services to building critical of nation's development. They are the officers of Indian administration, heartbeat of our nation. Today, we are privileged to have Mr. K. Amaranarayana sir, a retired IAS officer of Bengaluru, to this inaugural ceremony of the MUN conference. Now, I request Ms. Dinya ma'am, Assistant Professor of Law, the convener of KLE MUN, to introduce our chief guests.
Thank you, Mr. Afish. I am privileged to briefly introduce Mr. K. Amaranarayana, retired IAS officer, to the August gathering. Mr. K. Amaranarayana, sir, hails from Subutu village, Chikballapura district. Sir has completed his Master of Arts from Mysore University and law degree from Bangalore University. Notably, Sir obtained PCT fellowship from Leicester University, UK, in the arena of water and sanitation. Mr. K. Amaranarayana sir is an urban environmentalist and has visited over 46 countries to understand various environmental issues. Sir has found a refuge of being a down-to-earth officer having concern for cleaner and greener environment, good ecosystems, good governance, and sustainable development. His outstanding contributions relate to the fields of planting of saplings, greening the barren hillocks through seed-borne technology, rainwater harvesting initiatives, rejuvenation of traditional water bodies, providing cleaner environment to villages, cities, towns, and public places. Most of these programs, in fact, were done without any support from any public funds. In order to achieve the nurture to nature initiative, so in fact took to various initiatives like e-waste management, plastic ban, green mobility services. As a very service-minded person, Sir takes to engaging Sunday service for social causes. Sir is a recipient of Karnataka Rajyotsava Award 2020, Karnataka State and UNEP Environment Award 2012, International Green Summit Award 2014, Guardians of Nature Award from Brahma Kumaris 2018, Nada Prabhu Kempe Gowda International Award for Environment from Singapore 2019, and OISEAN Award from Japan in 2020. These are merely a few credits for the magnanimous efforts undertaken and rendered to the field of environment by Sir Amaranathana. So with this, I warmly welcome you to the office. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. One of the 7 lamps of ethics under law states that lawyers, advocates, and professional academicians should have a fellowship amongst them in order to maintain a cordial relationship, such as the relationship that our college has with NLSIU Bengaluru. Present at our gathering today, we have Professor Dr. Saram Bhatt, Professor of Law and Coordinator of CEERA at NLSIU Bengaluru. I request Mr. Dhawan GM, Director General of KLE MUN, to introduce our guest of honor to this inaugural event.
Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to introduce Professor Saram Bhatt, sir. Professor Saram Bhatt, sir, Professor of NLSIU, Bangalore, India. It's a Indian family legal institution. With over 22 years of experience in the legal fraternity, these areas of specialization include the law relating to public-private partnerships, competition law, tendering, contract management, environment protection, and environmental protection and law and right to information. He is currently appointed as outside expert member by Vizag team Rashtriya Nigam Limited for conciliation and arbitration matters. His service served as consultant to several government and non-governmental organizations and has conducted several training programs and workshops for several government offices of India and other state governments as well. Under aegis of various government bodies, including the Administrative Training Institute, Mysore, National Academy of Direct Taxes, Delhi, Vizag Steel Center Steel Board, National Productivity Council, GIPARD Goa, and Fiscal Policy Institute, Bangalore. Sir did his LLM and PhD from Department of Law, Institute of Mysore, and has been awarded the Young Indian Environmental Law Fellowship and served as adjunct faculty at Golden Gate University, California, USA. During the fall 2003, as a Fulbright Nehru Fellowship 2010. Sir was a visiting researcher at Georgetown University Law Center, Washington, D.C. During August-December 2010, Sir was also limited Pali Academic Exchange Fellow at the Royal Institute of Technology, Stockholm, Sweden, 2012 and 2013. Sir published books titled Natural Resources Conservation Law, Right to Information, on Contracts, Agreements and Public Policy, Analysis book series, Energy Law and Policy in India, Right to Information and Environmental Law, Public and Development of General Law and Public Policy published by NLSIU. I also would like to share my personal experience with Saram sir. I am very grateful to being mentored by Saram sir in several occasions, even though and Sir has also been indirectly contributed to our session by I was working for World Environmental Day program for Sir. That time, by working in the sector of climate change, I'll be inspired to conduct one committee for UNDP for our conference, and also Sir will be mentoring me from more than 1 year. I'm very grateful to be mentored by Sir.
Thank you, Gagan. Light and brightness represents the positive, the good, and the good spirits and spreads divinity. Now I request the guests on the dais to kindly light the lamp to inaugurate the fifth edition of the Model United Nations. Now I request the guest of honor, Professor Dr. Now I request our chief guest, Mr. K. Amaranarayan sir, to address the gathering.
Good morning, everyone. Say good morning. Just wanted to know how many of you are sleeping. Are you sleeping? Are you awake? Actually, you are awake. Respected Jail Mahalingaya, respected Sai Bhatt, and Mr. Naik, and faculty of the college, and my dear students. 3 months ago, 3 people came to me. I was in the Administrative Research Institute. Name is Mr. Aditya Prakash Naik, Anish Reddy, and Shubhan. I think you all are your classmates or college mates. They met me at the asked me, so would you like to share your experiences as administrator in our college function, that is on the occasion of the United Nations, that's Model United Nations. When is this? They told me that it will be in the month of December. You are in August. You are asking for a date in December. It's too far. I don't know where I will be at the time, and then appointments are so many during the month of December. And he says, no, sir, you please accept December 7th as the date for our program. I was really wondering. See, this is what is required for the student community. I call this as perfect planning. Planning is first of everything. Many don't do it. Many don't do it and many don't practice it. So I really appreciate these 3 young brands for having taken such an initiative to design a model United Nations program months ahead. This is what is required for a student in this society. I really appreciate it. If you emulate this example, I'm not going to teach you any theories of law or so many aspects of law teaching because we have been learning this for the last couple of years and you will also learn it in your entire lifetime. Now, I asked them, what is the core values of your college? They told me, sir, our core values are truth, love, service, and sacrifice. Then immediately I reacted, yes, these four aspects are very important for me. So your college with this kind of a value and motto, and it is your greatness that you are studying in such a wonderful college and you will definitely shine in your life. Okay, many of you will not practice law. Maybe you may become an administrator or you may become a counselor or you may take up any profession in your life. But what are you going to do when you take up a career? I recall my young days. Why I am recalling those young days is, those were the days which were very difficult in our district. I hail from a district where there is no water. We draw water from 1,500 feet below the ground, which is poisonous to breathe, which is not good for the crops. Even then, we struggled. And at that time, I recall, I was just 10 or 11 years old, school-going boy. We had a very good crop of paddy, and we had harvested the paddy. We were in the harvesting field. One Tahsildar came and took away all our paddy by force, by coercion. At that time, my grandmother went and attacked the officer. In fact, she took a broomstick and beaten them. She was arrested, taken to the police station. Later on, the legal process, and my father was in service, and then he got a release. And on that day, my grandfather told me, "Son, see these officers, they are troubling the farmers so much. Can we tolerate this? Can we really be subjected to this kind of a ill treatment? I want you to become an advocate or an administrator and see that justice is done to the farmers." Friends, this is the statement of my grandfather, which made me to stand before you like this. We must back for this. Because had I not studied hard, or had I not put my efforts to learn, I would have been a village. I would have been tilling the land or doing some agricultural practice. But as a student, my senses were definitely evoked by my grandmother's statement, and from that day onwards, I was dreaming of becoming an artist. That too, an IAS. I did become. I am telling you this series. This is not in your textbooks, not in your syllabus. First thing is you should have an aim, a goal, and a dream to become an officer or an advocate or a judge or whatever you. Otherwise, but my circumstances were quite different. We suffered a lot at the hands of the administrators. So my grandfather told, let there be rule of law and justice be done to the farmers. So you become an officer and render service to the society. From that day onwards, I was aiming to do it, achieved it, and did my service in such a noble way that I am standing before you as one of the unknown IAS. Nobody knows me. Have you ever heard of the newspaper? or TV channels who are heard in the newspapers and the TV channels. Those who make some mistakes or those who commit something wrong in their opinion. Okay, I'm always happy to say I drew my pension on the day I retired. You know the meaning of this? Do you know the value of this? In any government service, if you draw your pension on the day of your retirement, that is your decision. I was so truthful to my conscience. I was always going by the law. I was down to earth, honest, and did my service to the best of my knowledge and levels. So this made me to ponder over so many issues. I recall I was DC of Damanagere. There are 25,000 people before me agitating for fertilizers. One day previously, that is one day before, there was an agitation in Haveli, which is a neighboring district. 2 farmers were killed, and the agitations were going on in the district, and the same thing was happening in my district, that is Davangere. And 25,000 people are grounding the government, and I was made here before them by the criminal. They thought that this is a criminal. I did not waver. I was not afraid of the people. I took my ST in the midst of the crowd, walked through the crowd. Then I went from the back and went to the front of the crowd, and I asked him, what do you want? Sir, we want fertilizer. We will give you tomorrow by 10 o'clock, but fertilizer is available in your shops, in the cooperative societies. Please recall call off your education. But they were not happy because in Haveli there was 2 tests have taken place. They thought there would be a similar situation arising out of this kind of a crowd. I was unnerved. Then I appealed to them. I spoke to them. I convinced them. I told them, you believe me, I'm the administrator here. I'm the government for the district. You have to believe my words. Then they accepted. One old man in the crowd said, yes, we have to trust this DC. He has no antecedents which are against him. So please let us follow the. He announced that we should follow the strike, and then we should wait for his decision that is given in writing. All of them melted like this. This is what we have to do. In my entire career of 37 years, I never will get lucky. You know what they do? When there is a crowd, they will say first charge. Instead of charging, I must discharge them in 21st. I examined the whole issue. I was telling my police officers, don't do any practices. They are also human beings. They have come to demand it is their right to demand whatever they want. Maybe fertilizer, maybe some other facility which is not given by the government. And just because they are agitating, we should not use the lathi and disperse them. Many police officers were complaining against me to the government that he would not allow lathi charge, he would not allow golibar, he would not allow to fire a shot, not even in clear guns. I told they're all human beings. First, we should treat them as a human being. They are the people who provoke them. They don't get provoked. They don't get provoked. I know that. So as a farmer, I have experienced this. So I used to tell them not to provoke and use other methods of controlling the crowd. There is a whole chapter on crowd management in our academy. So we are all taught. We were also taught how to manage the crowd by using lathi as well as bullets, but I never will it. So I am not heard anywhere because I never used it. Had I used the lathi or asked them to do a golibar like Haveli, my name would have been in the newspapers and I would have faced some judicial inquiry. Why I am telling this is, you are all going to be in the forefront of administration, and you are going to govern this state or country for the next 30 years. When you take a decision, you take a decision in favor of the common, the farmer, or the innocents. Those who come for education, for your information, they don't come with any intention to destroy the government. It is some miscreants who come and create that, and in the name of education, these miscreants do the job, and the result will be on others. That is some innocent farmer or the person doing the crime. So please use your discretion before taking any decision. Any hard decision against anybody. All you think that we are human beings. That's what the poet who is known as the Rashtrakavi, as a national poet, he says, "Modalu Manavanadu." We first be a human being, then everything as an officer or whatever it is, that's all next. So this is my message on this August reflection. And then this 5th edition of Model UN is focusing on several issues, on human rights, on environment, on Karnataka Legislative Assembly, on the UN Security Council, disarmament, so on and so on. I am very much interested in the environment programs. For your information, I am the first IS officer in the state to receive the prestigious Karnataka Unity Environment. That was in the year 2012. I didn't stop at that. Many a time of receiving the award, people will disappear, as you know. From 2012 onwards, I retired in the year 2014, but even today I am relentlessly working as a quiet soldier somewhere in the village. In the year 2020, I am the first vice to receive an environment award from the Karnataka state as a register. I'm proud to say this because I want you to come to that level. You should be recipients of this kind of recognitions. It is not enough that I alone receive it. Many of you are talented. Many of you are capable of delivering such service to the mother earth or to the state. And you also should be in the list of human beings who can achieve this. So this is my call to you. Put up your efforts and focus on something which is interesting to you. Don't do anything which is not interesting. You have to always focus on a thing or a subject which will have some creativity and which can deliver good society. Now, justice to the needy. A lot of people used to come to me. They used to seek justice. I was mentioning about this to Dr. Madhya. Some people are interested in only some temporary reliefs, but I was always looking at the long-term solutions. Once it so happened, government passed an order to pay 1,000 rupees to each farmer as an incentive due to severe droughts that was existing in Canada. This was the year 2009. Government said there are 1,20,000 farmers in Davangere district. They have to pay 1,000 rupees to the farmer by way of check. Nobody knew the background. 1,20,000 checks should be returned by the Deputy Commissioner's office, and he has to sign. What will have happened to us? 1,20,000 signatures to be affixed to the checks. Then this is where common sense prevails. I always believe the role of Kamaraj, the then Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. He ruled by common sense. Yeah, at least that. Don't do anything half-heartedly. Do it wholeheartedly. Can anyone deny that Kamaraj was such a wonderful Chief Minister? Of course, many of them cannot have read the history of Tamil Nadu. I'm not from Tamil Nadu, but Kamaraj did it. I'm also not an intelligent guy. I learned from all people like you. I used to convene meetings and take the suggestions of everybody and give my own decision, which is in favor of the larger community. This incident of payment of money to the farmers was a big challenge. Then I used my common sense. I called the bankers. I told them I have to give 1,000 rupees per farmer, 1,20,000 people. How can this sound? At that time, there was no computerized accounts in the banks. It was in the year 2009. Then I requested the bankers to give a solution. They said, sir, we open accounts in the bank for all these 1,20,000 people. We will deposit the money. That was the genesis of EQT. Direct investments. I made an analysis about this. Then I consulted the bankers, took their inputs, then deposited the money at the rate of 1,000 rupees in 1,20,000 people's farmers' accounts. And after 1 week, the chief secretary called a video conference, asked me, Davangere, you are showing nil balance. What happened to the money? Did you put that money in Badrari? And I told, sir, I have done this kind of arrangement, and all the money is intact in the farmers' accounts. At that time, the chief secretary was stunned. See, if everybody does this, we say number one, number of checks to be issued, 1,20,000, or equivalent number or more number in each district. Then the time, the money, and the harassment that may happen in the field level, all these words resolved in one decision by direct investments. This model was copied by the then Rural Development Minister Manishankar Iyer for the Rural Development Ministry in Government of India. This kind of innovative idea should emerge from young people. Why I'm quoting this example is you're all very intelligent youngsters. Now you have the strength of social media, technological platforms are there. So by using this, you can render the best service in the world and see that the problems of the common man is mitigated. Otherwise, treating the same part of the previous meaning, your ancestors may not help this country. This country needs people with innovative ideas and people with commitment to serve and see that people are kept happy. So that was my responsibility. I did this in at least 4 districts where I was at meetings. Thank you. Why I am telling this? Usually, an IS officer is not given many districts, just for your information. 1 or 2 districts, there is a matter. I requested the chief secretary not to post me as deputy commissioner again and again. I am sick of working in the districts. He said, you are much sought after DC. You please go to the district and help them. There announced the problem. I was in Chamarajanagar, I was in Chamarajanagar. There was forest tax problem. For information, there are 2 districts which are not appearing in newspapers of Chamarajanagar and Uttarakhand. I will feature both the districts. The forest rights, there is an act. It is not implemented by the officers of those districts in strict sense. The government had given us some time, 6 months time. So I finished all the formalities and gave the rights. That's why you don't see any single news item on Chamarajanagar, which is having 143 tribal colonies, and Uttarakhand, which is having about 86 tribal colonies, and they're all their issues are all this. I did such. I took a lot of interest in delivering the goods to the tribals, so that they should not come to the offices again and again and seek for the solutions. So I made a package and gave it. So this is how an administrator can change the lives of tribals who are rootless, clueless, and rootless. They don't know anything in this world. If you go and talk to the tribals, they will be just getting at you. They don't know anything, but it is our duty to see that the rights which are to be given to them have to be given and given in an appropriate manner. So this is another example I am quoting because, see, in Shimoga, this problem persists even today. Every now and then there is a report about then it is persisting in Dakshin Kannada, your own state. It is persisting in Udupi. Why not in Chamarnagar? It is because the decisions we have taken. So, from this point of view, what I say is, please examine the whole issue in depth and see that you should provide solutions to the problem than just giving excuses after excuses and avoiding the one. I was always reading one statement. I think you would have read this statement. No polluted hands should touch the pure fountain of justice. Have you heard it? Have you read it? Not yet. This is one of the famous statements in jurisprudence. John KLE Wilmets said, "No polluted hand shall touch the pure fountain of justice." We are all pursuing law. So what you have to look at is whether the seeker of law has come with clean hands or not. Yesterday I was seeing the TV footage in Gulbarga. One person simply accuses another politician that his people attacked me. Virtually here, nobody had attacked him. He had committed a road accident, got injured, and blamed the politician for all the happenings, and the police did a wonderful job. They took up the investigation seriously. They went to the roots of the problem, and they found that this person had committed an accident and he was pretending as if he was attacked by a group of politicians, supporters. So this kind of incidents do happen every now and then. Now, it is our duty to see that justice should be rendered to the person who has committed a mistake, not who has not committed any mistake. So, from this point of view, the pure fountain of justice shall not be polluted by anybody who is having who comes with a with a hands full of blood. At this point of time, I was asking Danush, Danish and Aditya Prakash Nair. See, I have a lot of experience, and you have a lot of theoretical studies you are pursuing in theory. So how can you meet this? So I told them this summit, this meeting on United Nations can definitely help the students. You can invite the people who have experience and background, and you can learn from their experiences and integrate in your future careers. Now you have one very important need. In this meeting, you are discussing on implementation of government schemes and programs. For example, you are focusing on the 5 guarantees made by the state government. Please do a good job on this. Why the government has introduced these 5 guarantees? This has to be thoroughly analyzed and given a report to the government so that if there are any mistakes, it can be corrected. See, it is the voice of the people. It is the voice of God. I think you have read that statement, most popularly was the voice of the people is the voice of God. Now you are the gods for the government. What you can do is you can recommend in such a way that this current scheme can be implemented in a modified manner, or it can be improved upon on this aspect, so that the government also gets the benefit of the wisdom of young people like you. So I call upon the brilliant students over here to share your thoughts candidly so that government can improve upon the schemes which are being implemented now. In the now there is another issue confronting the animal. You saw Arjuna, which was subjected to death. We do not know who is responsible for its death. It is said that there are some controversial statements that the post-mortem is not done, and it was not that elephant was not supposed to be used for such an operation. Now, I call upon some of you to form a small committee and see that this animal world also is well protected. It is not that only human beings should be protected in this world. The flora and fauna of this country and this state has to be maintained as well as nurtured by us. So the cause of this death of the Arjuna has to be proved, and you can also use your intelligence by applying the laws. There is Wildlife Conservation Act. Why this Arjuna was used for such an operation? Was it necessary? And when they used it, was it right in the right direction and all that? So that you can render justice to the animal world also. Then look to the downtrodden. There are many who are, as I said, clueless and helpless. You need to support them. We are all well to do. God has given us some opportunity to serve society. When you have an opportunity, you go to the downtrodden, help the poor, and guide them, and see that their problems are resolved at a faster pace than others. I also saw one more subject be introduced in this United Nations meetings. That is on the UNEP, United Nations Environment. I will be rather happy to share with you any number of issues that are confronting our country, our state, as well as the world. The degradation of the environment, then there are any number of policies that are brought out by the government, but are they being implemented in the right perspective? Are they being implemented in the right direction? Are they reaching the stakeholders? All these issues have to be debated. For example, pollution control boards are established throughout the year. Are they functioning according to the law? Are they implementing the plastic ban? Are they looking into the pollution levels of air, water? There is a separate water act. There is a separate act for air, measuring the air quality. Are they doing it? In that case, what is your role as a young student? How can you help society to overcome these issues? Then there is another challenge, the mobility issues. Bangalore is now having around 1 crore plus vehicles. They are emitting so much of smoke, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, lead, which are choking the city itself and choking the lives of many people. What is the solution that is available for us? Can we go in for a green mobility? If we can do, how we can do it? So all these issues can be addressed in a very fruitful manner by applying our existing laws itself. So in that sense, I would like to support this college in any number of ways. With whatever knowledge I have been taken by it is a open opportunity because I have been doing it quietly in so many organizations, but I do not take my name. But I would like to infuse this kind of issues into the minds of the youngsters so that you can find plausible solutions to come out of this. And you all know the rendering of Basavanna. There was a rendering in the beginning, which is about words. Basavanna said in 18th century, Kalabeda, Kolabeda, Kusiya Nuriyalu Beda, Muniya Beda, Annere Asasya Padabeda, Tanna Vandisa Beda, ಇದರ ಹಳ್ಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಡ. ಇದೇ ಅಂತರಂಗ ಶುದ್ಧಿ, ಇದೇ ಬಹಿರಂಗ ಶುದ್ಧಿ, ಇದೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೂಡಲ ಸಂಗಮ ದೇವನಲ್ಲಿ. The meaning of this is why we are pursuing law. The question of thefts not new to the society. Question of lying is not new to the world. There were crimes ever since the civilization commenced. Am I right? Ever since the human beings came onto this earth, there is lawlessness, there are crimes, there are untruthfulness, and there is always skirmishes, there are always fights, and all to resolve all these things, we need one thing, that is God. So we have to pursue the law in such a way that all these issues are addressed in a very systematic manner, so that the society lives for some more years and society shines for some more period. Otherwise, there will be total lawlessness and chaos and confusion in the entire country. And now, in conclusion, I would like to say, I am a votary of whoever. He is the national poet, and he is one of the best, one of the leading poets of Karnataka, and he has written a book called Atmashri Agi Nirakushamati. It is about the life of a student and how he has to shape his life for his betterment. I have circulated this article to be circulated to those who can understand Kannada. Sorry for those who do not know Kannada. So it says, it gives certain cardinal principles of life. How we have to live your life. This article was written 75 years ago, but even today it is relevant for our society. And I was very much influenced by this article when I was in college. One of the professors of Kannada language, he asked me to read that book and give the comments at that young age. I read that book not only once, I read about 10 times, and then I understood the whole ingredients of the book, and then I gave the professor that this is what I have learned. And that day he predicted that we are going to become one of the important persons in this state. So I became an important person, and I'm speaking from that. From those, this of the professor is really necessary. So why I am telling this is, see, somebody can get influenced because of somebody's words. I got influenced because of the words of my sister, and I stood down in the history of the Karnataka state. And now I would like to say that all of you should become such an important person in the society. With these few words, I thank the organizers of this summit, and then I wish the summit all the best. And I want this to come out with flying colors, as well as I want you to deliberate upon those subjects which you have listed out, and you have to create public awareness on these issues. From this point of view, what I would like to say is, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. Unless you prove that something is happening in the society which is wrong or which is right, people will not understand. So this eternal vigilance has to be like a flame which should burn all the way. And I think that we will carry this mantle of leadership to highest levels and make this summit successful. So with these few words, I thank the authorities once again for giving the opportunity. Give me a few words patiently. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insight in planning, future thought, decision making, and core values that one must have. And also sharing with us your experience on the struggles, achievements, and excellence of your profession that you have contributed in the 37 years of your service and till till date. Now I request the guest of honor, Professor Dr. Sairam Bhatt, to address the August gathering.
A very warm afternoon to all of you. I'm looking at the watch. We are 1 hour ahead behind the schedule. So I keep my interaction with you because I think time is the essence of all matters on planet. But having said this, friends, pardon me, my voice is not great. It's not great because I just traveled to Delhi and had the pure air in Delhi. And the after effects continue even now. So there are a lot of challenges ahead of us. But this is a model United Nations competition. And to be honest, friends, if I had to look for model or role model in my life, J. Mallikarjuna said, 23 years back when I started my career in law, he was my role model. Model United Nations is a little far ahead. We should look for models near and dear to us. And if some of you as students want to see the models in students, I think Aditya and Dhawan, both here, are actually models. Dhawan just, we are complimenting each other. But to be honest, he has started his practice from the first year of his law. He finishes his class at KLE and immediately he is there now changes. And he's there till 10 o'clock in the night. If some of you just want to know, this boy alone went to the Harvard High Court and has 5 lectures. Alone. That's the kind of, I think, models that we should look at students. But having said this, friends, quickly coming to the topic and the competition. Friends, to be honest, problems in this world are good news for many of us. For a lawyer, problem is an opportunity. It's an income, it's a case. We like problems. We want husband and wife to fight more. The more they fight, better for us. For lawyers, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu should continue fighting for what? The more they fight, lawyers make money. The other day in the newspaper I was seeing that Anil Diwan just charged government of Karnataka 29 crores as legal fees. Not much. So problem is good news for many. Internationally, friend, while you have in this competition looked at many problems and challenges of the world, do you know that these problems are good news for many countries? For example, the war that is happening in Ukraine and the war that is happening in Israel, it is good news for the companies that are making these ammunitions and defense equipment. And most of these companies are US companies. To be honest, US economy will shrink if there is no war in the world. Yes, you please go and read. They smile on war. War is their biggest business. It is the biggest business to control the world and to actually dominate. And hence, friends, if you ask me, while I was just looking at the Israel-Palestine, not Pakistan. Pakistan always is a problem near. The Israel-Palestine, conflict, it's been happening for 60 years, and it will continue to happen for another 60 years. And interestingly, in the United Nations, there are countries that come and say, we condemn this. What a resolution. Is condemning a resolution in the United Nations? Of course it is. But is that sufficient? Is that the only role that the United Nations must take? I am wondering, is the significance of the United Nations still there for world politics? We need to introspect and ask this. Are we able to maintain the main mandate of peace and security across the world? But to be honest, where is peace? A ship that was coming to India is hijacked by the Yemenis
So you must have seen the video. An helicopter comes, 4 people parachute down into the ship and the hijack ship. The maritime corridors are so unsafe. And please know that is the main maritime corridor from which we get our fuel supply. If that is not ensured safe, how are you talking about the role of the United Nations? So I think it's time that these international bodies are held accountable for the very existence of these bodies. You know the salary that some of these UN officers get. You know the salary of some of these UN officers. Staggering amount. Finally, these salaries come from where? They come from member nations paying for the functioning of the United Nations. So I think UN bodies must work. They must work with diplomacy in finding solutions. You know, the other day, I had a very young student of international law coming to me and saying, sir, I have a solution for the Israel-Palestinian conflict. I said, please share it with me. He said, sir, see, this is a very small piece of land. And these two are fighting for it. Right? It's a small piece of land as compared to India. Yes or no? Yeah. He said, sir, एक काम करेंगे सर, ये सब जो पैलेस्टीनियन है, इनको कनाडा क्यों नहीं लेके जाते? तो वहां बसाने से प्रॉब्लम क्या है? ये दोनों यही जगह पर नहीं टिक सकते सर. They cannot meet coexist in a sentence. This is a reality. So what is the two-state solution? It's no solution at all. Either these guys should move or that guy should move. Or else we should move. Someone has to move. Friends, conflicts will continue to exist on planet Earth because this is the only planet for our existence. This is something that we have to realize. But the fact remains that conflict resolution and conflict management are key skills of diplomacy. If you are to be a diplomat, you must look at how to resolve and manage. These are two different things, managing and resolving. When a crisis emerges, you manage the conflict. But long term, you have to resolve the conflict. You have to find some solutions to the conflict. And this is where I think all of us who are gathered over here must kind of deliberate upon. But the fact remains, friends, who is listening to these resolutions? Who is listening to these solutions? To be honest, friends, let's take the Russia and Ukraine war. Ukraine wants to be a member of NATO. Wonderful. But should it actually become a member of NATO? What is the urgency, Baba? You have such a big neighbor over here, which is Russia. And why should you run to NATO over there? I would say, India, Chile, bye-bye. You first embrace your neighbors. You know, you actually have cordial relationships with your neighbors. If you are to sustain in the Indian subcontinent, friends, I cannot create always long-standing enmity with Pakistan. We have to find some hope, some resolution at some point of time. This enmity cannot continue for life. Friends, let me just give you a simple scenario. You must be saying, sir, are you overthinking that? Maybe. I and Mallikarjun sir, we are neighbors in the legal education system. National Law School and KLE. Should we be like India and Pakistan? Or should we cooperate? Should we, coordinate? Neighborhood principle is the first principle. If I love my neighbor, if thou loves his neighbor, thou loves God. That's the first principle, isn't it? So I think the world must realize that conflicts are no good for anyone. The soldiers are not here to die for the country. The soldiers are back to defend the country. The weapons are not for destruction. Weapons are for your self-defense. They will not fire. They will not be used. Countries must realize this. And please note, friends, today development is not at the cost of the war. I think everyone has realized you can't win any war physically. Of course, you can have cyber war, you can have some other war, but physically wars cannot be ever won. It's not possible in the current context. So I think the world is facing a crisis. And unfortunately, I think COVID has affected our brains. Yeah, sorry. After post-COVID, everyone wants to have conflicts. Because we thought the world is ending and our lives are also ending. So let us start fighting. So I think post-COVID, the world has to realize that look, COVID has really, have you realized something from COVID? Has COVID taught us many lessons? Of course, guys, just imagine when you can't stop a virus in one territory or one country. The world has to come together to fight COVID. When to fight COVID, the world can come together. To resolve some of these conflicts, can the world stand united? I'm sure the world can stand united if you keep the politics of these nations at that. If you want peace, friends, you have to resolve violence. You have to resolve conflicts. That's the only motive. I'm sure all of you have great ideas. You have come with great enthusiasm to take part in this competition. I see a lot of great participation from all of you. Wishing you the very best for this competition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom and insights on how conflict resolution should be done and how to achieve the lasting peace. Sir is revered, Principal Sir is revered as a beacon of guidance, a champion of dreams, and a leader of success. Their unraveling dedication and passion inspires us all to reach the goals we have set and beyond. So now I'd like to call upon Professor Dr. J.M. Mallikarjunaya sir, Dean Faculty of Law, KLE Technological University, and the Principal of KLE Law College, Bangalore, to grace us with his valuable presidential remarks.
Honorable Sri Amarnath, former IAS officer. Dear friend, Professor Dr. Spanawat, and Sir Aditya Prakash Naik, Secretary of the KLE, honored executive body members, distinguished delegates, my dear colleagues, and my dear students. Both my predecessor speakers have given a lot of insights for your personality development and for development of your implements for the sessions. And all of you have come so well prepared with your position papers, with statistics, with arguments, and so on. And last but not the least, after I stand forward to speak, after the speech of Dr. Saira, it so happens always that I will be exhausted with ideas. That's the cohesive thinking that we share. I would be left with no option but to say, I endorse all his views. They were my views too, except for the articulation in which it's good. That's the good news is, I feel there is no need for another lecture. However, I have some of these to make, as I do generally. Look, these international organizations, from GATT till WTO, League of Nations to United Nations, one caters to the economic development, the world, market needs, business requirements, and so on. United Nations has always stood to cater to the needs of humanity. Is what I wish all of you to bear it in your mind. While sustainable development, CSR, and so on stand as the protocol, framework, norms at WTO, they stand as the guiding tools at the United Nations. I wish all of you to understand this. You're all participating through 9 committees. And another thing I would like to point out to you is that at international level, be it meeting the motto of United Nations, be it meeting the motto of WTO, what's the right approach? Multilateralism, bilateralism, unilateralism. I believe, for my own reasons, it is the multilateralism as against the bilateralism and the unilateralism. That should be the driving force for United Nations. I beg you keep these things in mind, and the deliberations would cater to the development of humanity and not just catering to the economic development of the whole world. Economic development is must, and economic development, with this station, would like to say, should be subservient to the common good and humanity of the world. I think with this appeal, soon after this session, of course, you are eager to move on to your committee rooms, start deliberation, and churn out ideas, learn, unlearn, and so on. So one more appeal therein is that have a joyful experience in submitting your point of view. Appreciate the point of view that goes against you, agree, disagree gracefully, and have a very wonderful learning, joyful experience. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Your insightful guidance and achievements have elevated the importance of this session to an unparalleled. Thank you, sir. Now I request Mr. Aditya Prakash Naik, Secretary General of KLE 2023, to provide us with the valuable insights of this conference and to address this standard.
As the introduction says, that is supposed to provide valuable insights, but being the least learned person who does, let me very ready to speak about providing valuable insights pertaining to the agenda. And as far as your agendas and your committees are concerned, I believe you would be better in addressing those topics that have been allotted to the respective committees. So my only duty on this podium at this juncture is to express my gratitude and also reminisce how KLE started. And it's not a long story, it's pretty short. As a first year student, I just found about 4 NUNs in this institution. And from there onwards, they're right in this audience as well. We have Mr. Hari and we have Samini. And that's where we started. And as I speak right now, in the year 2023, we have more than 150 people who have participated. Well, my first vote of gratitude goes to the faculty coordinators who were present in the institution when I started MUN in the institution while I had experience of 5 years before that. That is one Mr. Ayush Shah and Mr. Aishwarya Sharma in Athens. Proceeding further, I don't have to look outside for guidance. There are 2 beacons of light and guidance within this institution, and that is our principal, sir, Jane Mallikarjunaya, and our IQAC coordinator, Sir Manoj Kumar Kiran. And let me just and you believe that they could be unaware of some kind of organization difficulty, you will find that they have already foreseen days before you encountered that difficulty in the first years. And that helps us manage the organization in a very efficient manner. Proceeding further, I back every single student and every single person who considers themselves to be a part of KLE modern living society. Because only thing that we have at this juncture is not a very established modern living conference, because we are hosting the conference after a long gap. But we have an organizing committee that carries a strong heart and strong will even during tested times. And that is something that we have seen this morning, and that is something that we have been seeing for the past 5 years. A large round of applause. Now we come to the latter half of my address. As I said, that not much valuable insights that I can provide at this juncture. So all I'd like to provide is appreciation for executive board members who have traveled here from all parts of the country to braces to enlighten our delegates and to provide them guidance as to how to proceed towards diplomacy in the right manner. With that, we'll be calling up the executive board members of each committee and we will hand over the gathering to them. Let's start with the United Nations Security Council. The co-chairpersons of this committee being Manav Singh and Sarat Bangre. Next on the list, we have the executive board of our flagship committee, that is SEBI. We have Mr. Aditya Sharma and Mr. Lamay. Next on the list, we have the executive board for the United Nations Department, Mr. Arvind Sood and Mr. Karthik. Friends? Next, we take the executive board member on the dais would be for Lok Sabha, Mr. Tommy Lila.
You should hold the cell phones.
The next executive board on the list is for the most awaited committee of this conference, the Karnataka State Legislative Assembly. The people who lead in the new grant and why should they be the other? Next, we have the executive board for the most experienced committee in this whole conference, that being Committee X. We have Mr. Dhruv Thakur, the chairperson, and Mr. Anil Anand, the vice chairperson. We also have the executive board for the United Nations Human Rights Council, consisting of Jasmeet Sen and other group parties. We have two committees, delegates. The next executive board on the list will be the executive board for that, consisting of Ravi. Last but not the least, we have the executive board for the international press. The head of the international press of KLE, which is with the With that analysis, we have declared the executive board for all the committees at KLE in 2023. And last part, where we declare the conference open. Yeah, I think I'm available. With the power vested in me as the Secretary General of KLE 2022, I declare this conference open.
Thank you, Aditya. Last but not least, I'd like to request Dr. Manoj Kumar sir, IQSC coordinator of KLE Law College Center, to kindly lead us through.
Good afternoon. Dignitaries, honorees, UITs, and their participants. The preparation for KLE 2023 started almost 6 months back, I can say. All of you must have witnessed the social media updates that were coming up with respect to preparation and selection of executive board members and invitations. So many updates were coming up on the social media, and today we have gathered here to witness the inaugural of this grand event of model unifications conference in 2023. And on this occasion, we were blessed to have as our chief guest the K. Amarnarayana, retired IS officer at BENGALURU, who addressed the students and shared his experience. Sir, on behalf of the Indian committee, in the Law College BENGALURU, extend gratitude for your presence and your words of wisdom. Sri K. Amarnarayana sir, as a draft, respected members. And we have today on Mr. Professor Sairanga, Professor of Law and Coordinator of SIDA and LSI Bengaluru. As you know, sir is a great inspiration to all the teachers as well as students. I thank you, sir, for inspiring students as well as teachers in presentation. And may I request Mr. Anmokshara, student from 3rd BBA LLB, to present memento to Professor Sairanga. Professor Zappa, the Mallikarjun being faculty of law and of KLE Law College for guiding us throughout the night to organize this event. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Actually, the major share of credit should go to the annual committee and the teacher coordinator as well as the student coordinator of the annual committee. I thank both Ms. Genia, assistant professor, who is a teacher coordinator of the UN, as well as Mr. Aditya Prakash Nayak, the for picking up this guiding. So, dignitaries, for your information, we have representation from 25 institutions and 10 institutional delegation. I
express my gratitude to all those participants who have joined here to participate in these 3 days conference. Thank you all. And good night on the teaching staff and the administrative staff for making this event a success. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So finally, I, Arvind Shivacha of 4th year KLE, will be signing off for